I have a confession to make. I recently started sewing again after a hiatus of about 4 years where I didn't actually believe that I had time to sew. Where am I going to find time to sew? I mean, I'm not in the position of having a partner and family. I don't have children, but I do have a business, and right now I have 9 people working for me. So how the hell how do I even find time to run a business and run a home? When am I going to buy groceries? When am I going to do my laundry? Let alone when am I going to sew? But it was kind of killing my soul not to do any sewing. And so I did start sewing again this year, and here's how I found time to do it. I went and found people as busy as I was. This is called modelling. If you want to do something, but you don't know how, whether it's a particular technique in your sewing or like a big meta thing like how to find time to sew, go find somebody who's doing it successfully and just do what they're doing, model them. So what I did in the end, I was so frustrated, haven't got time to sew, just haven't got time, I'm far too important, I've got this business wrong. How do I find time to sew? I went and found somebody who was busy as I was, and also somebody who was doing the kind of sewing I wanted to do. So first of all, I went to my friend Nick Wilton, who is a fantastic painter and runs an extraordinarily successful business teaching people to paint online. He runs courses. He has a website called Art to Life. And his business has exploded in the last couple of years, but he still finds time to do his own painting, to do his art. So, and he just said to me, you just make it the number one priority. I paint, he said, for 2 hours a day. That's it, non-negotiable. That's what happens first in the morning. So 2 hours a day, non-negotiable, okay. So I went on and I went to costume college, and I talked to my friend Maria from a blog called Before the Automobile, and she doesn't have a business of her own, she has a full-time job, but she does the most extraordinary sewing, most of which is hand sewn. She doesn't really use a machine very much, as I understand it. She does a lot of things by hand, and she does things, she makes dresses in which she'll hand paint the silk herself before she cuts it out. Hugely beautiful, labour-intensive works of art. Go see her blog. And so I had the same question for her, the amount of sewing she needs to do whilst running an ordinary life. How do you find the time to do all of this? And she said, well, you know, I just do it. I just sew 2 hours a day. Huh, how interesting. Both Nick and Maria were telling me it's just something that I make the first priority, 2 hours a day. And I did come home and say, right, my New Year's thing, my resolution is I'm going to sew 2 hours a day. And so now I do from 9 o'clock in the morning. I've tried doing the 2 hours sewing in the afternoon, doesn't work. Once I'm on the computer, I'm there for the day because there's, you know, a million fires to put out and everything's urgent. Everybody needs something and everybody wants to get in touch with me. So first thing in the morning, before I switch the computer on, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I'm sewing. So that may not be appropriate advice for you, depending on what your timetable is, depending on what your priorities are and what your commitments are in your life. But the overall thing here is A, make it a priority if you're having trouble finding time to sew, and block out a particular time. It may be a 10-minute window. It may be a 30-minute window. Whatever it is, make it a regular appointment you make with yourself, as if you were going to an evening class. You're taking an evening class on how to learning Italian. So every Thursday night, if you went on this course every Thursday night, you would go off to college and you would do this course. So now you're going to college to sew. So every Thursday night, you make it clear to everybody in your life, this is my sewing night. And whether that can be 10 minutes, whether it can be half an hour, I understand this may be difficult if you have a newborn child, but there are always ways to carve out a little bit of time and make it a priority. And overall, above that, whatever you're trying to do, if you're trying to figure out how to do something and it's not coming together, go find somebody who's done it and figure out what they're doing. Okay? So, I'm Kathy Hay. Leave a comment below, subscribe to my channel if you feel like it, and do some sewing this week.